Welcome to the Daily Rewind brought to you by thisdayinbaseball.com. My name's Tom Hannon, and I'm your host. Today's Rewind is about the real insight why the Boston Red Sox traded away Babe Ruth. Boston sports writer Dan Shaughnessy wrote a book about this trade calling it The Curse of the Bambino. On January 3, 1920, the secret terms of the December 26 deal to sell Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees are publicly revealed for the first time. Boston Red Sox owner Harry Frazee will receive $100,000 in cash and $300,000 in loans. The $100,000 is twice the amount ever paid previously for a player in Major League Baseball history. The news draws further wrath from the angry Red Sox fans who are already upset that Frazee sold one of the team's best players. Now, if you're a fan of the game, the rumor was always this was about Frazee financing a Broadway smash hit called No No Nanette. The truth was, he and his partner, Hugh Ward, had paid $1 million for the 1916 World Series champion Boston Red Sox. That included the franchise and Fenway Park. They paid $400,000 in cash, and then they had a $262,000 note that was due to the former owner, Joseph Lenine, by 1919. Then they had an additional stock deal with Charles Taylor that had significant interest payments. This entire deal was done on a shoestring. As we know, when we do things on a shoestring, bad things can happen easily. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Unfortunately for Frazee and Ward, the team's attendance collapsed in 1917 and the war-shortened 1918 season. This attendance drop crushed the team and Frazee's finances. The attendance, which was almost 500,000 people in 1916, had dropped to 387,000 people in 1917, 249,000 in 1918, and the rebound to 419,000 in 1919 was good, but it was still a significant drop. Frazee, although he was successful in theater to this point, he was just receiving a salary of $12,000 and a percentage of profits in the plays he had produced. Other than 1916, his best year when he received $68,000 in profits, he was not doing overly well. For instance, 1917 through 1919 produced a total of roughly $9,600 in total profits. So if you start to look at this and you combine the team's attendance, World War I, theater profits dropping, Frazee was in serious trouble, and he could not meet his financial obligations. Now, when I reviewed his biography on Sabre, they had reconstructed his tax returns, and in 1919, for example, he had made only $721. Now, granted, in tax returns, things can happen, and people can over-exaggerate things, but still, that was a significant drop in his personal income. With his financial life in disarray, Frazee felt as though he had no choice but to sell Babe Ruth. He had received a record sum of $100,000. He received $25,000 up front and then 3 promissory notes of $25,000 each at a 6% interest rate. The notes were due in November of 1920, 21, and 1922. In addition, Rupert gave Frazee a 3-month commitment that he would lend him $300,000 so he could secure a first mortgage on Fenway Park. Frazee needed that $300,000 to pay off Lannon. Again, circling back to what I said about buying this franchise on a shoestring, Frazee really needed that $300,000 to pay off Lannon. And it really worked out in that instance for both teams. The Yankees had lots of money, they were hungry for a winner, and Frazee needed money. Now, Fred Lieb, who authored several books in the 1940s and 50s about baseball, added from Frazee, "The Ruth deal was the only way I could retain the Red Sox," Frazee once told the author in a moment of confidence. Unfortunately for the Red Sox, and fortunately for the Yankees, it wasn't done after Ruth. You see, Ed Barrow, who was the former manager of the Red Sox, knew the players as well as anyone, and he became the general manager of the Yankees. And then he went after as many players as possible, mostly through sales of players, but there was also some really bad trades. For instance, Barrow would receive future Hall of Famer Waite Hoyt, Herb Pennock, catcher Wally Shang, shortstop Everett Scott, third baseman Joe Dugan, and pitchers Joe Bush and Sam Jones, amongst others. After 6 years, Frazee would eventually sell the Red Sox, which I'm sure all the fans in Boston at the time were overjoyed with, in 1923 for $1.15 million. Now about that play, No No Nanette, it would actually open in Detroit in 1924, and it will eventually hit Broadway, and in 1925, he will profit over $300,000 on the hit show. By that time, Babe Ruth had already hit 253 home runs for the New York Yankees over 5 years, including back-to-back years of 54 and 59 home runs. He out-homered entire teams when he hit 59. The Yankees had made 3 World Series appearances and won it all in 1923. Now I have something special for you, with Babe Ruth talking about his career ambitions and signing an $80,000 contract with the Yankees. And if you want to check out more facts from January 3rd, go on to thisdayinbaseball.com/January 3rd, and you're going to see hundreds of cool facts, birthdays, and players who departed us early on that day. Now please enjoy listening to Babe Ruth.
Ruth, here's your contract for $80,000 for 2 years. Will you kindly sign your name?
All right, Colonel.
All right. That's fine, Ruth. Now I hope after that you'll have a successful year. And I hope you get back in your old shape again. And I hope you'll come through with a new home run record.
I've had 3 ambitions. One was to hit 700 home runs. The other was to play 20 years. And the next one was to be in 10 World Series. I succeeded in one last year, making my 10th World Series. And next year gives me the opportunity to play in 20 years. And if I had 46 home runs, I'll have my 700 home runs, and I'll sure be satisfied with everything.
I hope you enjoyed that interview, and be sure to check out our show notes for links to player biographies, pages, and catch up on details you may have missed. And subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts so you can enjoy future shows. And again, I'm Tom Hannon, I'm your host, and we'll see you at the ballpark.